Well, every day a small group of highly privileged people seem to get more powerful and increase the crackdown on the country. But occasionally there are reversals of fortune that we want to call attention to. Today was a day like that. The Washington Post has settled a $250 million defamation suit brought by Nicholas Sandmann. He's the high school kid from Covington Catholic in Kentucky who was vilified by the media, you'll remember. They selectively edited a video of him. They made it sound like he was harassing an American Indian man. In fact, the full video showed the exact opposite of that. We reached out to the Washington Post today, its media reporter, Eric Wempel, and we asked him to come on and explain the Washington Post's role in this. He was, of course, too cowardly to do that. Loathsome. But it wasn't just the Washington Post, by the way, that attacked these kids for the crime of, we're not sure what the crime was. Here was Don Lemon over on CNN describing the encounter.
The MAGA hat carries a certain connotation that provokes a conditioned reaction from many people, especially from marginalized people.
Got that? So international TV star Don Lemon wants you to know that if someone disagrees with his politics, you're allowed to harass them. Maybe even beat them up, who knows? Sandmann sued for that too, and CNN settled a $275 million case earlier this year. But it would be a mistake to say it was just the Washington Post and just CNN. It was NBC too.
Do you feel from this experience that you owe anybody an apology? Do you see your own fault? If you looked at that video and thought about how it felt from the other's perspective. In other words, there were a lot of you, a handful of the others. There's something aggressive about standing there.
Every single day, these people bully Americans, yell at them, berate them, attack them, force them from their jobs. The country's cowering in silence thanks to people like this, but occasionally somebody fights back, and even more occasionally someone fights back and wins. And that's what Nicholas Sandmann did today. Robby Soave is the author of Panic Attack, Young Radicals in the Age of Trump. He was the first to expose the smear against Sandmann and his classmates, and so we thought it'd be worth having him back tonight. Robby, thanks so much for coming on. What's your reaction to this, since you've been on this since the first day?
I'm really glad that there has been recognition from these couple of journalistic institutions that have been sued, that they did get it wrong. I'm glad, Sandmann is getting a measure of justice. What I hope is that it will send a message. Now, I'm not confident this message will be received, but my hope would be that this would send a message to others in the media that you have to practice the craft of journalism. You have to be careful about stories if a clip, a video like this emerges involving non-important people, non-public people, and it's not clear what's going on, and you just race to smear someone where you're not aware of the facts of the situation as a racist, and that's wrong. That goes against norms of journalism to seek the full story, or to even just consider the newsworthiness of, like, this wasn't newsworthy. There was no reason to do this story. So I want that to set in, that we don't need to always do a story about someone wore a bad Halloween costume 5 years ago or sent a homophobic tweet when they were 14 or something. I mean, in Sandmann's case, there really was no wrongdoing whatsoever. But the other kind, the drive to cancel or smear or attack normal, regular people who aren't famous or important, and that really needs to change. So I hope this could be a step in that direction. I'm not confident it will be.
I hope it is. Here you had the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, his personal newspaper, attacking high school kids? For what? So it's nice to see this, I will say. Robby, great to see you. Thank you. We should say that neither the Washington Post nor Sandmann disclosed the value of today's settlement. Jeff Bezos can afford all of it, of course. Jason Whitlock writes for and is a part owner of a fantastic site called Outkick. He joins us tonight. Jason, you've been in journalism for a long time, and so you know the power of it. You can really hurt people, and a lot of the time that's fine. But shouldn't news organizations be careful before training the bazooka on people much weaker than them? That's what bothers me here.
We are supposed to be the voice of the marginalized and the weak, and nothing fits that profile more than a 17-year-old high school student.
Yeah.
But Tucker, I think as you alluded to early on, and Don Lemon's comment proves, this is all about Donald Trump. This is about that hat that the kid was wearing. And we have justified in the media anything that's against Trump is a positive. And the ends justify the means. Anything we can do to stop Trump because he may be an evil dictator, he may be this or that. It's such a exploitation and a misuse and a misunderstanding or just outright lying to the public. The president of the United States just doesn't have the power that we keep ascribing to him. The legislative branch, the judicial branch can limit the president. We have term limits. This isn't the next Joseph Stalin. This isn't Fidel Castro, who ruled for 30 some odd years. This is a guy who can rule for 4 years, maybe 8 years at the most, and then he's done. And he can only do what our legislative branch and our judicial branch allow him to do. It's crazy. We have been so dumbed down by social media. We don't even have a fundamental understanding of how our country operates.
That is such a smart point. But I mean, I always give people a pass on being mad at politicians because I think you have a right to give the finger to the people in power. And that is, as you noted, that is our job in the media, is to hold them accountable. And I actually believe that. But you would think somewhere along the line, someone would say, okay, there's a difference between a politician, in this case Trump, and the people who voted for him. He has power, they don't. No one says that.
But also, I'm just sorry, the ends don't justify the means when you're a journalist. We're held to a higher standard. We've been having a conversation in America the last 10 years, 7 years about, hey, police, we got to hold them to a higher standard. They take an oath, blah, blah, blah. As journalists, we take an unstated oath about a search for truth and our duty to inform the public so they can make informed decisions. We are intentionally misleading the public. President Trump, President Obama, Bush, Reagan, all their powers are limited. And there's only so long they can hold power in this country. We're not Cuba. We're not the old Soviet Union.
No, that's right.
These evil dictators that they think are going to just take over and Trump's going to just be this totalitarian that just runs this country down. No, he's not. 4 years, 8 years, it's a short time. We have survived so much worse if you consider, let's take their argument that Trump's the worst thing that ever happened to the presidency. This country has survived slavery. This country has survived a civil war. This country has survived rulership from the United Kingdom, Great Britain. We've survived the limits of rights and all. We can survive 4 or 8 years of a president that Antifa doesn't like or the media doesn't like. They are whipping us into a frenzy and have whipped all of us into a frenzy. If we don't destroy Trump and anybody who supports him, America cannot continue. Are you kidding me? That's a joke.
Nicely put, as always. Jason Whitlock of Outkick, thank you so much.
Thank you.